Hello and welcome to today's live coaching call and community conversation. Today is Thursday, so we are going to be talking about a mindset shift, more specifically, a midlife mindset shift. Today, we're going to be talking about discipline and motivation. And do the two of those need to coexist? Can they be independent of each other? And how is it that we can find our discipline or our motivation if one of those areas is lacking and keeping us from reaching our goals or what it is that we say that we really want for ourselves? So welcome. My name is Diane Parham. I am the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman. That's probably why you're here. I also have an online course and group coaching program called the MidLife Mindset Shift, where we really do dive into a lot of this work here and really try to figure out what's going on with our thought process and our mindset and why it is we are where we are and how we can get where we want to go. So I love having these kind of conversations and I love having you here with us for them. I'm going to go through the usual drill if you guys don't mind. We do have our intermittent fasting course currently under some maintenance, so to speak, and we will be opening that probably this weekend. There's a couple of new things that I want to add to the course before I officially launch it, and so that is really kind of what's been holding me up from getting it live to all of you. I've received all your emails wanting to jump in, and I appreciate your patience. It is coming, I promise you, and it will be better than ever. So don't you fret, we'll get that in your hands as soon as we can. Please take a second to subscribe, like, share, do all the things, and most importantly, use the comment section to share your thoughts, your wins, or maybe some of your struggles that you might be having with this community, with with being an aging woman, or anything that you might have with motivation and discipline. So let's get started. So I really think that the best place to start with discipline and or motivation is with self, right? We really need to own up to our discipline being self-directed and our motivation also being self-directed. Now, I do get that we oftentimes look outside of ourselves to be motivated or look outside of ourselves to create that sense of needing some discipline. But for today's conversation, I want us to really think about ourself. I want us to think personally. I want us to think selfishly. And I want us to really identify maybe some of the areas or disconnect that we might be personally having that are keeping us from reaching all the things that we say that we really want for ourselves. So we talk here a lot about jumping off the fence. And jumping off the fence is basically just the phrase that I use to illustrate making a decision. There are so many communities, there are so many groups, there are so many forums, there are so many studies, there's so many books, there's so many things to do that we can often find ourselves in this deep dive of research and investigation. But I can tell you, nothing is going to ever change for you, or nothing is ever going to start to fall in place for you until you just decide to start doing some things, right? Or joining a course or jumping in, or what we all say here is going all in, right? So first we have to accept the idea that the discipline and the motivation is driven from ourselves. And then we have to start making some decisions. We cannot be disciplined and we can't really take advantage of motivation or our desire for motivation until we've actually made some decisions. So I want you to think about that. If you're wavering about something, if you're still on the fence and you haven't jumped off the fence and actually made that first step, that could be why you're feeling maybe a little bit unmotivated, or you're feeling like you are lacking in discipline. It can just be the fact that you haven't made a firm decision about something. So I really like to describe discipline as the how we get things done and the motivation as the why we get things done. We talk about that a lot here in this community. We talk a lot about this in our intermittent fasting community. I talk a lot about this in the intermittent fasting course. You have to really be connected to the why of what it is you're deciding to really keep that motivation alive. If you find that you're losing motivation or oftentimes losing some momentum, it could be that you either haven't really done the deep dive work and identified your why. And I always say here that your why should be that thing that like makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It gives you a little bit of goosebumps, might even make you cry. Like it's an emotionally connected why. When you get that dialed in, motivation is usually not the problem as long as you stay really connected to that, because you want that thing, the desire to achieve that thing is bigger than anything else that's going to get in the way. And that's really how we stay motivated. We're thinking about, like we talk about here, our future self. And how do we picture ourselves? And that in and of itself can keep us motivated. So that is where we want to stay forward thinking, not forward thinking. Is it forward thinking? So we'll just fix that later. We want to be forward thinking, right? So we want to be thinking about our future self. Oftentimes motivation can get lost if we're relying too much on the past or we're uncomfortable in the present. So I want you to think about that. If you're losing your motivation, are you thinking too much about the past? Are you living too much in the present, and have you lost your drive for the future? So we want to stay forward thinking, not forward thinking, right? And then we want to make sure that our motivation or the things that are connected to our why are layered. So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean here about layered. So oftentimes that we think motivation has to come from the direct thing, right? And so I was sharing with my husband today, I'm like, I'm not motivated about taking out the trash from the kitchen, but I'm really motivated about not having that trash sit in the kitchen and then overflow and spill out onto the floor or have my kitchen smell like the trash needs to be taken out. So the desire to have a clean, aesthetic, pleasing smelling house is the motivation that gets me to take out the trash. So I want you to think about that too. Sometimes our motivation is layered, and the thing that you're really motivated about can be a couple layers down, but there's things that you have to do to keep that motivation going till you get to the actual level that you say that you really want to get to. And that's really where discipline can fall into place. The discipline, like I said, is the how. Like, how are you going to execute? How are you going to show up? What kind of things do you need to incorporate in your life? How often do you need to do it? All the things. So it's the how. I also say discipline is the you either did the thing or you didn't do the thing. And so discipline can be a very black and white type of concept, where I think sometimes motivation can be a little bit in the gray feely area of things, right? And sometimes emotionally connected, like with our why. But discipline is what it is. You either did the thing or you didn't do the thing, or you've created a lifestyle where you can execute, or you haven't created a lifestyle where you can execute. This can also be layered. We do this very specifically inside the Midlife Mindset Shift course. We call this habit layering or habit stacking. When you have a series of things that you want to be able to accomplish that are going to keep you motivated and get you to your why, and one of those things triggers the next thing, and we usually stack them in periods throughout our day. And so when we can get really good at this how, and creating the list of things that we need to do or the items that we want to stay focused on, then connecting and layering them really does help us stay self-disciplined and then self-motivated. Because if we can get the discipline part down and we can show progress and we can see progress, then that usually reignites our motivation. The motivation then drives the discipline. So I do think that these things do coexist beautifully. I also believe that there are people who are just more naturally disciplined, and there are people who are more naturally motivated or who are driven more by motivation, and the motivation then connects into the discipline, and vice versa. I don't think you have to necessarily be equal on both. I think you do need to understand both, but you can be very tied into maybe who you are, how you were raised, maybe part of your personality that can feel like one of these is more natural to you. I say lean into that hard and then use that to drive the other aspect of this equation. So I promised I would give an example of what I do for my water habit, right? So, and I use this from a motivation and a discipline standpoint. in the intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, I recommend 100 to 150 ounces of water a day. That seems to be that range of amount of water that is really helping a lot of women look better, feel better, all the things, right? And so, how do we create a lifestyle where we can get 100, 150 ounces of water in a day? It is a real struggle for a lot of women to get this amount of water in a day. And it does make a huge difference with your fasting lifestyle, how you're feeling, being properly hydrated, getting all of your minerals, curbing your hunger hormones, all the things. So it is a big thing to be able to accomplish. And it does make everything else that we're trying to do easier. So how do we create something like this that will stick? Well, for a lot of women who want to change some things about how of some things that they're unhappy with, let's say with their body, we are motivated by the possibility, again, remember we're forward thinking, right? Of feeling better, losing weight, detoxing, staying hydrated. Like these can be some of the whys that we're connecting to the desire to drink this much water. These are usually emotionally connected. There's also a really fun thing that a lot of us do where we go out and we buy a cute water bottle, right? And we're carrying around this water bottle and we're hoping that this water bottle is going to be the thing that keeps us motivated to drink our water. But this isn't very emotional past the purchase, right? And receiving and then drinking maybe the water bottle, carrying it around for a couple of days. So this can wane, but these should be the things that are really driving your motivation. This one can come and go. And a lot of people just carry around a water bottle, never empty it out, never fill it up. So they're not getting their amounts of water. So this is where the discipline aspect from the motivation of your why can really help you create this habit. This is my disciplined water drinking habit, which allows me to drink 100 to 150 ounces of water a day. I wake up and I immediately drink 25 ounces of water, non-negotiable, no matter what. That's how I start my day. I have also created a layer in that where I do not allow myself to drink any coffee until I've had at least 25 ounces of water. So I layered these two and stacked them together. By 10 a.m., I like to have 25 ounces also gone and checked off of my list, right? So we're already at 50, or when I'm done with my workout. So 50 ounces of water there. By noon, and these are all little triggers that I've set up in my day. By noon, I also want to have another 25 ounces of water consumed. So I track these and I set myself up to make sure that these are done. Because remember, discipline is it actually occurring or is it not? So if your goal is to drink 100 to 150 ounces of water and you're not tracking them, or if you haven't created a system, it could be very likely that you're just not getting it done. And that should be one of those clues where you have to create some discipline. It's not something that just automatically happens. We have to create a system. From 2 to 4 in the afternoon, I drink another 25 ounces of water. So if I was done right here by 4 p.m., I would have 100 ounces of water. I could say check done. But I like to err on the side of more because I just feel better. It helps me with my weight management. It helps me detox my body. And I know I'm totally hydrated. So I shoot for another 25 ounces of water around dinner time with my family. And then that last 25, so to take me from 125 to 150, I kind of negotiate. How am I feeling? Am I going to be sitting on the couch watching TV? Can I have another bottle of water then? I put one by my bedside. Like we can use that as a negotiating factor. But this discipline also keeps me very motivated because when I'm dialed in on this, all of these things happen. I feel more energized. I feel like I'm waking up with all the energy that I need to start my day. My body feels energized if I have that coffee in before I have the water in before I have my coffee. So I have all these motivation cues that I can check in with that are going to help me stay disciplined. And when I don't follow this discipline, I tend to lose my motivation because I start to feel sluggish. I start to feel fatigued. I don't feel like I have the energy that I had before. And so this is where we can use the discipline and the motivation to kind of check themselves. And then we have to stay self-disciplined and self-motivated, so we end up getting what it is that we say that we want. You can use this scenario and this analogy with anything in your life that you say that you really want. What I think trips so many people up is really the self part. And we're waiting for other people to motivate us. This is one of the reasons why I think, especially in the health and wellness and physique area with women, we want to see other people's success stories because we want them to motivate us. But if we have that why dialed in and it's emotionally connected to us, that really should be enough motivation, right? That hope that we have for our future self and what we're creating for ourselves, because we don't even really know what someone else was willing to do discipline wise to get that result that we're hanging on to get motivated. Now, just like the cute water bottle, other people's success stories and other people's results of things in their life can be that thing that gets us started. So it can be that cute little thing that just gets us excited. But this part of your motivation is going to be the thing that is going to keep you in the game. It has to be self-driven. And then you can rely on your friends, you can rely on accountability partners, you can rely on all of those people to keep you in check. But really, all they're really keeping you in check for is the discipline aspect, right? Your walking buddy, your fasting buddy, your husband or wife or partner who's going to remind you, hey, you said you wanted to go to bed early so that you could get up early in the morning so you could go work out. So we have to remember that those kind of people or things that we put in place for us are great for us, but they're always going to be external. The internal motivation and the internal discipline has to be driven by us, the self aspect. And so again, if you feel like you're missing some of that or that energy or excitement, come back to you, do a little brain dump of what it is that you say that you really want, find out what your why is that's going to motivate you, and then put some steps in place for the discipline. This right here is exactly what the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Women course has been designed to do, to bring your motivation into a program that is disciplined to help you establish this fasting lifestyle. The same thing with the Midlife Mindset Shift course and community is that the motivation is there and the program and the coaching is to help you define the discipline, right? And so we want to make sure that we have those two clear as well. I hope this helps. Steal this. This is my water discipline. I've been using it for 7 years. When I am dialed into this, everything is always spot on for me. Every aspect of my life is better when I execute this discipline with my water drinking habit for sure. I had even had a time when my kids were a little bit younger and they weren't driving yet. And every single time I got into the car to take them somewhere or to pick them up from school or whatever it is I was doing as the mom taxi, I would not get out of my car and come back into my house until my 25-ounce bottle of water was gone. Another one of those just layers that I added into my discipline because I had to trigger my brain to remember to drink my water because it is just not it's just not a natural thing for us to do. So I hope that helps you there. Copy it down, modify it any way that you want, put reminders on your phone, do all the things that you need to do to make sure that you're getting what it is you say you want. And you're not feeling like you're struggling with something just because you're lacking a little bit of discipline. If you're lacking the discipline, oftentimes that can be the thing that can move you away from the motivation as well. Okay, so let's see who's here today. I hope that all cleared some things up and got you excited about getting to your why or getting back to your why and then establishing some of these steps here. Charmin, so good to have you, my friend, from sunny Colorado. Loving my new fasting lifestyle. I am so proud of you, girlfriend. It is the best. Liz, hi from beautiful Lake of the Woods, Day in Virginia. Be sure to hit the thumbs up to support DYANN. Thank you so much for saying that, Liz. Yeah, a lot of people, it seems like, who are using these types of means to connect with their community are really having a hard time getting that, reach out into the universe. So anything that we can do to support our community here, get those thumbs up out there, and even commenting in the comment section really does help. So I appreciate you guys. Tina, what's up, my friend? 2018 grad. What is the phrase you say? I pause. Oh, so it's 4 things. I breathe. So I just take a breath. Then I pause and I kind of just get my wits about me. I think about what's going on in the immediate, environment with my brain, my feelings, like what's going on around me. And then I ask myself what my next move is going to be. So I do this a lot with my fitness, my treadmill running. And so I'll share really quickly since you asked how powerful this is. So I can be running on my treadmill at the same incline and the same speed, not touch a thing. And if my mind wanders away from what my body's executing, my heart rate can go up 5 or 6 beats. So I have a fitness app that I use with my heart rate. And when it switches over from one zone to the next, it's a little vibration. So it triggers me to look, right? And so I'll look and I'm like, why is my heart rate going up? And then I realize I'm thinking about coming to talk to you guys, or the laundry that needs to be folded, or the trash that needs to be taken out, or whatever it is. And I've exited my present situation. So then I take a breath. When I notice that, I just pause for a second. I think about where my mind wandered off to, and then I ask myself what I should do next. And oftentimes what I do is I just bring my thoughts right back to where I'm at. I check in with my feet and how they're landing on the treadmill. And I check in with how I'm breathing. And I check in with my form, and I check in with all the things. And then what I'll do is I'll just notice my heart rate come back down, right? So this works in every aspect of our life when we're feeling a little bit out of control, or we find that we're making decisions in an unconscious state, because that breathe, the pause, the think, and that ask just trips you up for long enough. So where you bring your brain back to the conscious state of and the present state of where you are, and then you can make an informed decision about the present moment, and you're not unconsciously making decisions based on where your mind is wandering off to. So that's what I use, and it works every single time. I love it. Maria, greetings from Miami. Ooh, girl, I love me some Miami. 20-hour fast is the only thing that works for me. This keeps me motivated. Thank you. Gracias. You are so welcome, my friend. Yeah, it is super fun, right? And when you're really motivated to make some changes and you create that discipline, I mean, a 20-hour clean fast is discipline at its best. And that is really all that takes, is just a little bit of discipline that's going to back up that motivation and get you what you want. So girlfriend, I'm super excited for you. Good morning. Great to see you, my friend. We eventually need to chat. I've been on a roller coaster. Keep doing what you're doing. Girlfriend, you just come anytime and you reach out. I'm going to be on Instagram on Friday. And I know we've connected on Instagram as well. So check in with me there on Friday if you want. Vanika, November 22 grad, hit that like and thumbs up button. Thank you so much. Robin here, January 23 grad. I love this. It's so true and so timely. Just made another giant step forward in my life. And this mindset is the whole reason I'm able to make the big step. So good. Robin, I'm so proud of you, my friend. It's all just mindset, right? And really taking responsibility. I think it's that self part that is so big for us. And when we connect that, right? When we connect that and we stop looking for others for our motivation, or we stop looking for others to be disciplined, right? We can do it within ourselves. It is so powerful, and you can make some of the biggest strides in your life because you got all you need right here, right? You don't need to look outside. Perfect discussion. I struggle with discipline and motivation, which I believe is part of my ADHD. Nevertheless, I'm here to push past that. I signed up for the course and didn't get past the first module. Girlfriend, go back to your course. Go back and log into day one. Make a reminder on your calendar of your phone that every day at a specific time, you're going to check your course. So figure out again too, why is it that you want to finish that course, right? What is it that drove you to sign up in the very first place? Something got you off the fence, and it was probably a motivated kind of feeling that you had. And then go back to that, like write it out. Like, why do you want to get the results from taking a course like that? What results are you looking for? Then lean into that hard. Lean into it. Create a plan for yourself, and then just every single day for the next however many days. I think there's 21 lessons in the course. Check, check, check. Just check each day off. We'd love to have you back. Hello from Canada, November 22 grad. I got tired of hiding behind my heavy weight, wanted to enter my 60s healthy and confident, and I did it. This lifestyle rocks, and so as do you, Coach. Diana, so proud of you, my friend. Yeah, we should be able to decide how it is we want to show up, right? And if you can dream it, you can hope for it, you can visualize it, you can also make it happen. And that really is this part right here. And inside the intermittent fasting course, inside the midlife mindset course, I have broken down for you step by step exactly how to do that. Now, this step, whether you're going to do it or not, is going to be up to you. So again, if you are connecting to places and people and things that have created the steps for you, all you have to do is execute. And that is really where the power of a lot of these kind of communities is so great for so many of us. I appreciate this talk. I struggle with discipline and motivation. ADHD is a real thing, right? So many people are kind of recently, it seems like, been diagnosed with ADHD, and they're like finally feeling like, oh my gosh, like it makes sense, right? And so I always say lean into that, my friend, as your superpower, and really figure out where you can use your ADHD to help you. And then also figure out where maybe some aspects of your ADHD, because we all have things, right, that we're dealing with, where the area of your ADHD might be the thing that could be tripping you up in certain places, and then build this around that. Build the discipline around that so that you are not feeling like you're constantly swimming upstream, and that you're going to make the system that you create work for you and the things that you have going on. So go back to the course. You still have access to it, and then just jump in and just do it. Do it because you deserve it, for sure. So Fonda, November 22 grad, hit that like and thumbs up button. I love the 20-hour fast with the ability to ebb and flow as life happens. Yes. And that's the other thing I really like with this mindset aspect of things, is for us to remember that we get to make up the rules that we want to have for ourselves based on how authentic we want to live our life. And we really need to create that authenticity, right? So that we're living our best life, and we're not waiting for someone else to constantly give us permission or tell us what we need to do. You get to do it whenever you're ready to do it. And I love that about the ebb and flow, for sure. Tina, you're welcome. I don't know if you were talking to the other Diane or me, Diane, but you're welcome for both of us. Think about getting all the fluids is you need to know you have access to bathrooms if you're out and about. Yeah, for sure. And that's the way we're supposed to be, right? We're not supposed to go all day and not use the restroom. That's using the restroom. It's in and out, right? So if you're finding that you're not using the restroom frequently throughout the day, I would be more concerned about that than I am concerned about how many times I'm going to the restroom, right? And yeah, you just got to kind of know, like, if you're going to leave the house, go to the restroom. If you're going to be at Target, know where the bathroom is. Maybe go to the restroom before you start shopping. Like, there's no problem with that. That's why restrooms are available almost everywhere we go. And just take advantage of them. Let's see. Thank you for motivating us to listen to ourselves, since we are all different, which is a wonderful thing. Yes, it is a wonderful thing. I can imagine if the world was all made up of all the same people who had all the same desires and all the same drives and all the same intentions, like, it just wouldn't be a very colorful place, right? And we want the world to be a colorful place full of all kinds of different aspects, the diversity of it all. And so, yeah. And then lean into where you are your best. And if you are that person that is just like driven by motivation and excitement and possibility, go hard on that. Go hard on that why, lean hard into that, and then use that energy to build the discipline. I tend to be a more self-disciplined person. I don't really need a whole lot of motivation other than the fact that I've decided I wanted to do something or I wanted to create a change. And so I tend to lead hard into the discipline, and then the accomplishment of the things that I'm disciplined at tends to keep me motivated. And so you drive where it is you're driven, for sure. Shauna, I'm glad you were reminding us to stay motivated about drinking enough water throughout the day. I struggle with getting enough water drink. Yeah, it's probably just because you don't have a system, Shauna. It doesn't sound like, and you've had some great success also, right? So it doesn't sound like you're not motivated. You know why it is drinking your water is so important. So create this part, create the discipline, and put some rules in there for yourself. Like, it seems silly till it works, and then it doesn't seem so silly anymore, right? And so for me, like the little, like, don't drink coffee until you've had your 25 ounces of water. I have literally noticed where I've had a mouthful of coffee and a bottle with water in it, and I've spit the coffee out and drank my water. Like, it seems ridiculous when we think about it, but dang, if it doesn't catch me every time and then reminds me like how important it is for me to do this first. And so that is, have fun with it too, right? And create some of these things that will just kind of catch you and trip you up, and then it doesn't seem so daunting. But yeah, I mean, I literally have sat in the garage of my home in my car guzzling down the last remains of a 25-ounce bottle of water, because my rule is I don't get out of the car until it's gone. Am I drinking my water? 100%, right? Because I have these little rules in place. So make it fun, make it silly, make it whatever you need to do, but just get that water in, or whatever it is you're looking for. A great encouragement. I would just wish my 57-year-old woman bladder was stronger. Yeah, there's things that you can do for that as well. I've got a video or two, I think, also that I've talked about stress incontinence, because I suffered from that greatly since having my son when I was 34. It got worse when I had my daughter when I was 40. And then when my body was just retaining a bunch of extra fluids, the stress incontinence was even worse. And so when I got a handle on the stress incontinence, on the inflammation, the stress incontinence kind of healed itself, and now I can run without any problems. I think, just having kids also is that thing that, if you have a full bladder and you trip on, a bump on the sidewalk, are you going to leak a little? Probably, so there's that part of it, but you don't have to suffer from, bladder problems just because you're drinking more water. There's a bunch of other factors in there as well. And then just also within this, put some discipline of just forcing yourself to go use the restroom before it becomes an emergency. And you might find that you can kind of train your body for that anticipation as well. But yeah, we've all been there, my friend. Jan, thank you, Diane, for making me the hottest 62-year-old that I know. Girl, you are so welcome, and you work that hard, you hot little 62-year-old you. Nancy, good afternoon. I have no problem drinking 100 ounces of water a day. Where I'm stuck is how protein to put in my body. And a day I'm really confused about this. Diane, your class is so good, and everyone take the class. Nancy, it's the same thing with protein. All you have to do is figure out, okay, and a lot of women are tripped up about protein suggestions. Those are guidelines. They might not be your guidelines. So you have to figure out how much protein, first and foremost, you need for the goals that you have for yourself. And so start with that number. Then you back it into your day, and you just have to plug in opportunities for you to get X amount of protein by X certain time of your day, right? And so I think what we do is we make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I've tracked my protein, where when I'm tracking it and I'm conscious of it and I'm aiming for a certain amount of protein every time I eat, I can get 135 grams of protein in a day. There's also times where I'm not focused on it and I'm barely getting 50. So you have to just kind of build in some structure and the discipline, and then do a little trial and error and an ebb and flow. And then once you get it, if protein is your struggle, the best recommendation I can provide for you once you figure it out is rinse and repeat. So you're not constantly having to think of new ideas for protein. I think that's one of the biggest struggles too. Nancy, 22 grad, still going strong. Love your motivational talks. So good to have you, my friend. I love our grads here. When I fast 20 hours and feast well, I can easily not snack, which spikes insulin. Yeah, because you're satiated, right? And so, and you're probably tuned into the conscious decision-making process of snacking versus the unconscious decision-making process of snacking. And so when we feel satiated and we're fasting in a way where our body is feasting well during the fasted state off all the problems we have that we want to get rid of, then snacking isn't really a big issue. Tina, years ago, I remember you telling us that hydration and staying hydrated lowers your risk of breast cancer. That has been a big motivator to follow the water intake. Hydration is just what we all need, right? We need those minerals. We need to stay hydrated. We need to make sure that our body has all that it needs to function the way it has been designed to function. And we need water, and we need those electrolyte minerals more than we need food. And when we make that switch in our thought process, it does get a lot easier as well. Ashana, I'm a download a water app to help motivate and keep me drinking. Yeah, here's where I say you throw all the darts and you do all the things, whatever you got to do to create that discipline and that motivation for you, so you end up getting what it is that you say that you want. I am the worst app person. I think just I'm a multi thought all the time in my brain kind of person. And my brain's always, on overdrive mode. And so I start apps and then I forget to check in with them, or I silence them when they're going off because I'm doing something else. And so I've talked to you before about even fasting apps. Like, I'm just not a good candidate for them, because I will have a fasting app started and I'll have fast for like 752 hours or something, and it's even checking in with me to see if I'm feeling okay. And I'm like, why is this thing annoying the heck out of me? And I just forgot that I started a fast and didn't finish it. So I'm not an app candidate. I'm more of a write it down on paper, tally mark my water bottles, do things like this where I'm connected to times of the day or whatever. But for y'all, app people, there's some great apps out there for sure. If you feel like that's going to help you get your discipline in, because that's really all it is, right? I am a fan of sticky notes around the house. I'm a fan of what I call trip wires. So if you're motivated to, start a workout schedule, and you're going to lay your clothes out the night before, or I've talked about before here, where I was super motivated about, making some physique changes with workouts. And so I went to bed with my workout clothes on. Like, that was the discipline that I put in place, because then when I woke up, in my brain, it didn't make sense to be in workout clothes and not go work out. And so do what you got to do. Throw all the tools at the process until you figure out the ones that are going to stick and work for you the most. And nothing is silly and nothing is outrageous. It's what's going to work for you. And so use it all. Love notes to yourself on the bathroom mirror, sticky notes, sleeping in your workout clothes, water bottle triggers. I even had a season where I had a different color water bottle for the time of the day, and I would fill them all up in the morning. And so, I'd have to have the black water bottle done by, before I had my coffee, and I'd have to have the teal water bottle done before 10 a.m. and I'd have to have the green water bottle done before noon, just to create the habit. And so again, do what you got to do to get that habit and the discipline in place, because then you're going to probably be more motivated. And the more motivated you are, the more disciplined you're going to be, and the faster you're going to get to those goals. And it's all just a beautiful process. Okay. I love you guys. I am going to probably take this part of what we talked about and put it inside the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course as a little bonus lesson. For those of you who are having a hard time, figuring out what to do with your water, specifically broke this down so that we could put that inside the intermittent fasting course. It doesn't have to be that difficult. You just got to get out of the way of your brain and get out of the way of the excuses. And then also remember, I'm going to say this really quickly before I cut out of here, because this was a comment that was in, I think we got this consecutively the last 3 months we've done class, is that people are bored with drinking their water. Y'all, water is not a source of entertainment. Water serves a purpose, and that's to keep our body hydrated. A lot of these other things, right? So use other things for entertainment. If you're bored of the taste or whatever it is, drink something else in your feasting window. But when it comes to water, it serves a purpose, and that purpose is to keep us hydrated, keep us feeling full, keep us detoxed, keep us all the things, right? And so make sure you're reframing your brain about some of those thoughts as well, so you're not tripping yourself up when you don't need to be tripped up. Get on my email list, y'all, so you can get the invite to the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course when we open it up. Remember, the changes are you sign up, you start. I'm not making you wait for a first Saturday of the month anymore. You can start the same day you sign up, because when you make that decision, right, and you jump off the fence and you're super motivated, I don't want you to have to wait to start implementing some of the discipline that we are going to incorporate in class. So get on the email list. You will see an email from me this weekend. I'm really excited about all the changes we've made inside the course. If you're a graduate, don't worry, you have all the things. You're not missing anything. It's just what we're going to be offering for the new students. It's the same exact course. We're just offering it in a different way. So you're not missing anything. And then I'll see you guys in class when you get in. So have a good rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend. And if you're in the Midlife Mindset Shift course, I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to break this down a little deeper.